I think it all starts with the SWOT analysis, right? You're going to look for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yes.
And so when you're analyzing something, and a lot of times you don't have much time to make a decision.
Mhm.
You could get let's just say, a residential assisted living, right? Like, perfect
Yes.
example.
Yes.
You had to move very quick on your decision without
Yeah.
even walking the property. I mean, you're
Hmm.
like, what can you do to limit the risk? Of course, you're going into a new market. Timing for permits and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I think the people that can take calculated risk and be decisive usually end up winning. And you're going to realize that over time, not every time you get up to bat will you hit the ball. Sometimes you're going to get struck. You're going to strike out. But the idea is to keep that batting average as high as possible, because that's when you're going to win.
Hi there, guys. Another episode of Vinney and Beau Show. This is Vinney Chopra and brother Beau right there. How are you, Beau? How
I
is the
am.
life treating you with the new baby and, just all the beautiful things that have happened in your life?
It's going well. You don't sleep as much, that's for sure. But it's you got to be able to balance. And so
Yes. Yes.
that's a responsibility. Even my wife used to walk the dog, and now she's busy with the baby, so now I've started walking the dog. So now
Yep.
you're stacking on responsibilities. You're losing a little sleep,
Yeah.
and I'm busier than ever. So you know that's what you got to do.
That's right. That's right. And today we are talking about taking calculated risks. It's so important. Taking calculated risks and moving decisively are really essential for our business growth and personal growth. So I hope everybody hunkers down and listen to this really great episode and share with other people also.
Yeah, I think it all starts with the SWOT analysis, right? You're going to look for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Um,
Yes.
and so when you're analyzing something, and a lot of times you don't have much time to make a decision.
Mhm.
You could get let's just say, a residential assisted living, right? Like, perfect
Yes.
example.
Yes.
You had to move very quick on your decision without
Yeah.
even walking the property. I mean, you're
Hmm.
like, what can you do to limit the risk? Of course, you're going into a new market. Timing for permits and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I think the people that can take calculated risk and be decisive usually end up winning. And you're going to realize that over time, not every time you get up to bat will you hit the ball. Sometimes you're going to get struck. You're going to strike out. But the idea is to keep that batting average as high as possible, because that's when you're going to win.
I totally agree with you, Bo. And it happened in my life in the last 1 month. As you know, you're getting me going with the SBA loan. But I made a quick decision because I asked the operator to send somebody and get me a video of this house. So I'm here in San Francisco area, and this is in Phoenix, Scottsdale area. Within maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I got three videos of the house, starting from the front, going into each room and the ceiling and everything in the backyard. And it was so nice that I was able to see it right there, as if I flew there and, got into the car, went to the property, and got to see everything in real time. After that, we also talked to the licensing board, or the lady over there who gave us the thumbs up, because the house was 1 mile radius. There was no other RAL. That is the only thing. And this house had already been equipped with fire sprinklers and everything, and the health department had okayed it before all the renovations happened and so forth. So it was, we mitigate the risk. I just say that, right? Research and risk assessment was so low that I said, okay, let me grab it. And got a good deal. I mean, from the listing price to what I paid.
And so, is your application already in, or what do you have to do to get the application in?
It's then. It's already done. As soon as I got my name on the title, my operator, my consultant, Glory, already filled out application. She's going to hand deliver it right there, and then she's going to send me a whole receipt of the whole package and everything so that I can provide to SBA. So it'll be maybe 2 months, she says, that they will be able to come, fire department and health department, to do the inspection. She went to the warehouse, a big, furniture warehouse where she buys the things, brand new things. And it was so exciting. Again, another video. Vinny's sitting over here. And then she's going to be able to, then she gave me another video of the truckers outside, because we wanted to donate some of the furniture which we cannot use and move some tables, office tables and all. Then she showed me how these things can be kept, and then we're going to buy now other stuff and so forth. So you're right. I think we have already started the process of furnishing this property, and then the landscapers are coming, 3 of them, front and the back, giving us the quotes. So she believes in the same system which I do. For any kind of bids, there has to be total transparency. I told my personal banker to open the Bank of America account right here in California, which will be nearest one to this property for us to operate on and everything. So we are moving forward with a vengeance.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that it's something to be said that you have to, in life, you do have to make decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit premature, where you don't know all the end results. You can only do the diligence to
Wow.
limit the risk factors, right? And there's always
Yes.
going to be things that pop up, and
Yeah.
those are the variables. And so you have to be able to roll with the punches. But I
Sure.
think, like, the people that are out there that understand the game of taking calculated risks are going to, most of those people are the entrepreneurs that will end up winning, right? And obviously, you always hear horror stories. We've all had those strikeouts where we
Yep.
really,
Yep.
probably didn't do our SWOT analysis properly,
Yeah. That's
and
the
that's why
thing.
we didn't, right? Like, that we missed some steps. I've definitely done on some houses that I bought, with sight unseen kind of thing, where it was remote. Is I didn't do some of the things I should have done. Like, I had bought a house that was very old, and I didn't think about doing a sewer line inspection. And sewer lines, and if you're buying houses in the early
They can
1900s,
cost money.
yeah. So you just got
Yeah.
to understand these things, and then occasionally you're going to touch the stove and you're going to burn your hand, and you're going to say, "I'm not going to do that again," right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had that happen numerous times. But the majority, I think, if you do your SWOT analysis and you really think about all, like, the variables, and then you limit the big risks by doing those that diligence on the big risk factors, then
Yeah.
really I think you can mitigate the risk levels. And I think that's really the key, because there's always, I've been looking at a lot of different business ventures, and I'm always thinking, well, what's really going to happen if I started this business? What's the real truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, how can I limit it? And I think you really got to take notes as you're going through the diligence process about reviewing a franchise, reviewing a business acquisition, a real estate deal, and
Yeah.
really kind of write a thesis of, like, things that could go wrong,
Mm-hmm.
things to research. This way you don't miss. I think if you don't do the steps of diligence, and you kind of take it lightly, like
Sure.
when I used to rehab houses, when I would eyeball a house and say, "Oh, I'll rehab this house for $70,000," you make mistakes versus having a process to analyze the house, what it would really take. Okay, well, if there's 2,000 square feet, what does it cost to paint? What does it
Yeah.
cost the floor? Because the square footage, it's going to be about whatever, $350 per
Yeah.
square foot to lay down the laminate floor and do the baseboards. You can really get a better grasp, as opposed to, like, most people say, "Oh, I've done this so many times. I'm just going to say it's going to be
Yeah.
75 grand to fix." So,
No, I agree with you. Totally, totally. I mean, we got to really use all the tools. I say that because it's so much available right now, through AI. You could do market studies. They could go through all these different websites. Like you and I, when we did it for this magic zip code, which when I went there last year in Phoenix, it was very impressive for me to see that these RALs near to the Mayo Clinic, which is one of the top in the whole Phoenix area, or in Arizona, maybe even, it's a magic zip code where the RALs, residential assisted livings, are 100% occupied. And my consultant, she also has 4 of them. So I wanted to buy something where she tells me. See, so you can mitigate risk by reaching out to the professionals, make some relationship with them so that they are your eyes and you read what they are telling you. Like another deal came, by the way, 11 bedroom and 7 bath, 1.8 million, but we were going to put an offer for 1.4 million, you know, and the person bought it for 999, something like that. Anyway, nice, but the thing is, it was in Scottsdale, but my operator, my consultant, Lori said, Vinny, no, it's a right smack in the middle of neighborhood. There's no parking that much. And, for 10 seniors, their, families will be coming and this and that. And the neighborhood is okay. So I backed out right away. So the thing is, I was ready to put an offer, by the way. I sent everything from the broker, listing agent. I was copying and pasting it to Lori. She was in a meeting. And I said, I'm not going to make a decision until she blesses the location and why we should go ahead or not go ahead. So it's so good to really have good team members, and so on.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it too. Is that like without the right person on boots on the ground,
Yeah,
you need the team around you to help you because they have experience in this segment, in this
that's true.
market. They know what's good, what's not good, and so
Yeah,
if you can
yeah,
find that person in whatever the business or industry you're working in,
yeah,
that's the key, right? Because it's like you're not just making your own assumptions. You're learning from somebody that's doing it in the market. Because if you went in blind and said, "Oh, I'm just going to do this business," and Phoenix is a great market, and you
yeah.
were in the wrong neighborhood and you didn't think about the parking, and now all of a
Hmm.
sudden people are like, "Well, this is a great location, but God, like when I want to come see my mom, I can't even find a parking spot," right? And
So
there's,
true. So
yeah, I
true.
think that,
And the neighbors are so angry and everything. And they'll say, my gosh, why are you putting all these cars all around? You're so right. So it's so important, just like what you said. Some people might ask you and I and watching us now, they say, how do I find that person? How do I really build relationship? Well, it's all there in front of you. Google search. You just say RAL, registered, no, residential assisted living operator with a license. That's it. You just Google it and the zip code where you're looking for this property, and you will come up with so many different links. Don't look for the sponsored ones, which they are trying to tie you into their business and all that, but look for, the consultants and maybe even the management companies who are there in that zip code who manage the RALs. Those are great too, because they will give you so much information because they want your business. See? And you being away in a different state, you do want to find out everything and everything. And then the laws and all these different things are right public knowledge by researching. And the best is chat GPT. Just tell them, hey, give me this, give me that, give me that. I love Perplexity, I think is the one, right? You shared with me. And I love that because it gives you resources and it tells you what more questions you should ask artificial intelligence. So I'm just loving it, totally loving it.
yeah, I mean, it's a game changer to get
Hmm.
your thoughts right and just using AI just to help you
Yep,
kind of navigate the process. And
totally.
the other day I was playing around because you were asking about a profit share agreement,
Yeah,
and I went in and I had ChatGPT and draft up a profit share agreement, and I said, now I want a profit share agreement where you can have a lien. Now the thing is like, obviously if you're doing a profit share agreement on a house flip, right? Like you got to be careful because there's so many risk factors, because
yeah,
one is you want to know, will the when they're getting a hard money bridge loan and you're going to be a profit share, you're basically the money partner, right? There's going to be a house
yep,
flipper, they're flipping the property.
Yes.
and they're getting X amount of dollars in a senior loan position from a hard money fund.
Right.
And then we call this gap funding, what you're doing essentially. So then
Uh-huh.
the real question is, like one is you got to be careful because there's usury laws. So if you do it as a profit share agreement, you're a partner essentially. But you also want to be able to do it as a recorded lien because if
Yeah.
it goes bad,
Yep.
and then what I would do is then have a draft copy, and then I would take it to an attorney that you trust and say, hey, this is what I'm doing on this profit share agreement. Because ChatGPT is only as good as ChatGPT, and if when something goes wrong,
Yes.
then you wish you would have done it the right way, right? So if you just take what I would say, hey, try something like this, that's not the right way to do it. Now you could take a calculated risk and say, hey, I'll just do this and see if it works. But what I would do is I would say, hey, I want to do a profit share agreement. I want to have a recorded lien. I want to protect myself as much as possible. Here's a
Yes.
draft attorney, so you're saving them some time. And for the $500 or $1,000 for them to review it and make edits, I would highly advise that.
I love what you're saying. Essentially, that's what I've been doing for 2 days, sending it to Milton Colgrove, my brother, my friend, and for 17 years, he's my attorney, real estate attorney, who has done flips also in the Dallas area. He's the best, in the colony. You know him too. And I just texted twice. And yesterday he said, Vinny, I'm on vacation. I'll be back on Monday. I'll send you the whole document. So that's where, and I told my partner, hey, we are going with the deal. And she told me that I could write any kind of contract with her. She'll be fine. So that way, it's all meeting of the mind, right? We tied the property, she paid the money, everything. And now I need the legal document with Beau, your help, and Milton's help. And I want to do more business with her too. Why not, right? And that's what I'm saying. But you're so right. You need legal document with the lien to make sure that you're not left high and dry. And then also profit sharing, the percentage of, if the house does not sell. The other thing you shared with me was get the comparable, sales of the houses, 3 or 4 houses near to the location, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was drafting it up, and some of the language I don't know if you can use, like the property owner guarantees a minimum profit of $96,000 based on the investor's $245,000 investment.
Aha.
If the net profits are insufficient to meet the guaranteed profit, the property owner agrees to pay the difference from other
Aha.
sources.
Okay.
Like some of this language that I was thinking about. So like here's a perfect point. Like I would come up with some of these drafts, like what I would want in a contract.
Yes.
Then I would take it to a legal professional and say, hey, is this legal? Is there anything I'm doing that if this went bad that would not hold up in a court of law, right? Because
Yeah.
so like I think that's what you want to do. You want to spell out an agreement. See, once you have a really good profit share agreement, then and you paid maybe even if you paid $2,000 to Milton, right?
It's worth it.
You're going to use that template. You're going to use that template over and over again. So why
Yeah.
not do it right the first time, or at least limit your risks?
I
Because
love it. I love it what you
because
just said.
because you because you could easily, we've all done this before. Hey, it's a great deal. We can easily just say, hey, let's do, your agreement's fine. I'll sign it. Like, and there's no recorded deed. And then, crap hits the fan and your 245 ends up being paid out 150. You lose 100 grand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're not protecting yourself. Like I see
Yes.
a lot of people that do these deals and they don't record any liens as a gap
Ah,
funder. And
oh,
I've seen so many people lose. Because
oh, wow.
I've seen people lose because they didn't even know what the first loan amount was, what the terms
Wow.
were.
Yep.
I told a lady one time, I said, I wouldn't make this investment. She did. She ended up losing $700,000.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You
Let's
know
not
what? You
let's
just
not
reminded me one of my
bring up names. But
investors.
remember, actually, you met with her. We met with her. We don't need to bring up her name. But remember, she lived over in Blackhawk. I think it was a long time ago. But that lady, I told her not to do.
Oh, I
She invested
remember.
like 700. Yeah, the blonde hair lady. So
Wow, I
she
remember
had, I
her.
think on 2 deals, she lost $700,000. I specifically
Oh,
told her, look, I've heard bad things about the person you're going to invest with. I probably wouldn't do this. I said, I strongly recommend you don't do it. And of course they do it. They do it with lack of the physical paperwork. And then all of a sudden they lose a big chunk of their retirement.
you know
She had some
what?
money, but she didn't have that much money.
That is so sad. I know one of my very good investor, I'm not going to say the name. They told me, Vinny, in a luxury home flip in San Francisco, where I live in Danville, Black Hawk area, right? And they lost 2 million. I didn't really dig into it. Now they're investing in my deals again with me because they say, Vinny, we trust you. You're honest and everything. They've been with me since 2007. That's 14 years. 14 years. No, no, no. 7. I can't. 17 years. But they said, Vinny, last year we lost $2 million. I said, how? How could you do that? Maybe that's what happened there. They didn't have a legal document put together with the profit sharing or what returns this flipper was going to give them. And they said, Vinny, in your backyard, we lost 2 million. That just killed me.
Yeah.
It
And
totally killed
they
me.
didn't have a recorded lien. They didn't
Yeah,
like,
they
so
didn't.
like, I know you like to move fast, but I was like telling you, like, look, like,
Yes.
draft up what you want to show it to show it to somebody, an attorney. And,
Yep.
for that $1,000 or whatever it costs,
It
you can
doesn't
then
matter.
have a template for future deals, but then you're insulating yourself, right? Like, cause I mean, $250,000 is a lot of money. Okay.
Yeah,
Like it is a
it
lot of
is.
money, right? Like you don't want to lose 100 grand. You don't want to lose,
No.
probability is that you're not going to lose any money, but you
Yeah.
might not make any money. So you're losing money because you're making no
Yes.
return.
Yep.
And then the 6 months, this flipper says she's going to do it in ends up being 12 months. Right. And so
Yeah.
then like you're getting no return, or maybe you lose 30 grand at the end of the day, or 50 grand of that 250 or
Yeah.
225. So like, then your return is a lot greater, right? Like even if at the end of the year she returned your money, you're still losing 10 or 12% because you would be deploying that
And
money into
opportunity
at least,
cost. I mean, I could
right.
make from 250 in 1 year, maybe 16% is my average, 16 to 18% now, with my deals and so forth. But you're right, Bo. I really appreciate your, giving me advice because you were on the HD TV. I mean, whole year. Remember cameras going after you and everything, and you were the flipper, Mr. Flipper. What was the name? Hold on, we need to
The
find
show
that video.
the show was called Flip It to Win It.
Flip it to win. Flip it to win. Hey,
Yeah,
anybody
actually,
watching us or listening to us, guys, I mean, we come to you every week, Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Please share these episodes and come back and give us comments and ask us questions. You could reach me at vinneychopra.com, contact, and again, boeckstein.com, and contact or through LinkedIn, DM, whatever, because we are here for your success to move your business to the next level. Hopefully, you can learn from us some tricks of the trade, and then that can get you to a next level and higher level.
yeah, Vinny, I didn't know if I just told you, but anyway, this is case in point. So I was just on the news, actually. Did I
Oh,
show you the clip? I was just on the, no.
no,
So let me,
sure.
uh, yeah, after we get off, I'll show it. But
Okay.
basically, one of the guys that I was on the show with just got indicted for is going to prison because
What?
he raised a
Oh,
bunch of money and never paid them back. And he was
oh.
he was on the show with me. And so they reached out and they said, "Hey, can we interview about this guy?" I'm going to
Is
show it
this
to you after.
recent or is it many years back?
It was back when we did the show, but he's finally
Oh,
going to
I
prison
see.
now.
I see.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm going
my.
to show you the clip. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
but the point
Wow.
is, it happens all the time. I think he lost like 11 or $15 million of investor money.
I just heard
Something.
yesterday. I met with one of my friend, and he brought his brother and son and uncle, maybe or like that. And we met at Starbucks. He says, Winnie, in Dallas, they just saw the news. I think one operator lost $55 million. $55 million of investors' money. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
So yeah,
You
so
got
it
to be
happens all the
careful.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So Like, look, when we're
When you
talking
say
about,
all the time, it scares the heck out of me. I mean, it has to be SEC regulated and all the T's are crossed and everything and
right,
proper
but look, but like we would have never guessed COVID happened, right? We would have never.
yeah.
I talked to a multifamily operator. They had, because COVID happened, evictions got backlogged by, like, it used to take 4 weeks to evict. Now it took 9. The guy operated his plan. His bridge loan came due. He did
Oh,
everything perfectly, other than the fact that COVID and they couldn't evict. And
yeah.
so, like, he could easily lose investor money. So even a person that does things right, buys the right investment, but something natural happens, there's always a risk level. So it's also like the staying power of, like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna make an
Yeah.
investment, who are you investing with
Yeah.
is more important than the deal, I think, right? Because at the end of the day, the person that's going to make it right, even if it goes wrong, is the person you want to invest with,
Oh my
not
gosh.
not the particular, not the deal.
I got to tell you about this one, and we are recording it. That's okay because the deal is there. Fannie Mae foreclosed on my property in Atlanta. You know it. And this gentleman who has been with me many, many years as an investor, he was telling his family right there at Starbucks yesterday, hey, Vinny's given me 40%, 30%, 50% in one deal in Atlanta. He even put 1.75 million of his own money, which I did, my wife and I. And then you gave me a loan for 8.5 or 8.75 million in 15 days. He brought it up. He said, you know what? I think you helped him too. But anyway, that's where the staying power of the operator is so important, and have the money to not lose the investor's money. If that property had been foreclosed, 327 units, I think it was, and if I did not bring up the money to pay Fannie Mae because they were foreclosing, we reversed it and got in 15 days, 8.75 comes to my mind, million. You gave me the loan with the company in San Francisco.
Yeah.
They came and
So
met me
you
in
always got to
Blackhawk
think.
Plaza. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. You always have to think about that, because the more I
Yeah,
think about it, it's the peace of mind knowing, like, look, if something
yeah,
goes bad, and over
yeah.
time things will go bad on certain
Yep,
things, right?
yeah, yeah.
You're not always going to get up to bat, and you're not always going to get on base. You're sometimes going to strike out, and, like, sometimes it's like war, or a pandemic, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, government shutdown, like, out of
Yep.
your hands. Look at all these people in Texas that had the insurance problems, that their
Shoot. Oh
insurance
my
went
God.
up triple, and they couldn't meet debt service coverage requirements. A lot of
Yeah.
variables. So, like, you want to be working with somebody that will always protect your investor capital as best to
Mhm.
their ability. A lot of people, I've heard horror stories, like, where, like, something happened, and, like, they don't step up essentially where they could have, and then, like, there's going to be a shortfall. Like, I think, look, I mean, if the dollar amount's crazy, there's obviously
Yeah.
no way somebody can make it up. But also, like, that's the difference between investing with a newer investor. Like,
Yeah.
even on this house flip, for example, it's like, okay, well, what
Mhm.
is this like? Like, you kind of got to get a feel of, like, what their pocketbook looks like, right? Like,
Yeah.
because there's going to be those factors. Well, like, I can cover, what happens if your budget for 135 grand becomes 180? Do you have that extra 50 grand, right? Like, maybe. So those are questions you really want to uncover, even on smaller deals. And I think, like, you're used to doing bigger deals, so doing like a $230,000 investment
Yeah.
where it's like $1 million property is a little, like, you don't. It's like the level of, like, oh, well, how much diligence should you do? But, like, these are questions that, like, if you're out there and you're looking, people are always looking to do these residential flips and stuff, and they're looking for money partners. I see people looking, but I think you just always got to really say, like, okay, like, how many projects does this person have going? What if
Mhm.
this lady had 10? How many flips are you doing right now? How many
Only
are
one.
you,
Only one.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But maybe she
In
had 5 going and she's over leveraged, right?
yeah.
Like, if you have,
Exactly.
most house flippers can't do more than 1 or 2 or 3 at a
Sure.
time, unless you're really
So
got a
true.
good, because you need the crews and stuff. So as you're going through, these are questions you'd want to ask, I would believe.
Totally.
Like, okay, like, how many projects have you done in the last 2 years? So like
Yeah.
when I make hard money loans for house flippers, how many projects have you done in the last 2 years? Can I get copies of like closing statements? This is what my underwriters want to see to
Yeah.
show proof of experience, because we lend high leverage financing. We'll lend up to 90% of the purchase price, 100% of the repair costs.
Yeah.
So if they've done 5 flips and you have the closing statement from when they bought it and the closing statement from when they sell it, so you can really verify experience that way.
Yeah.
Versus somebody says, "Oh, I've done 50
So
flips
many.
in the last 3 years." Like, well,
Right.
show me the addresses, right? Like, so these are the questions. If you're ever going to be a private lender, I would always learn about, like, if you need to be licensed or have a licensed mortgage broker originate the loan. These are typically business purpose loans, so it's different than a consumer loan. But just be aware of how to structure, and then if you structure it as a profit share agreement, recording a lien, making sure that the senior lender is okay with it, or know your risk levels there. Knowing this stuff, you'll make better investments into these house flip deals, like as just a money partner. I believe what I call gap funding or gap lending is one of the best investments you can do, because right, like at the end of the day, if you lend $225,000 and in 6 months you got paid back to your $225 plus $90,000,
Yes.
that's a home run, right? That's a great deal.
Sure.
So that type of lending can be very lucrative, or investing.
I'm with you.
Anyhow,
I'm with you, brother. Hey, it's been a
let's
great
wrap it up.
show.
We're
I
at
hope that you guys all loved the content. Remember, we don't talk about all the rosy things. We want to talk about mitigating the risk and, learning and having the checkpoints for single home or REL or any business. As a matter of fact, my partners, they are my students. Actually, I've taught them so good. Well, they are very experienced too. And they shared with me 2 opportunities yesterday. And I'm doing due diligence to see whether I should get into this winery with a restaurant and with Airbnb or a small hotel, bread and breakfast right on the coast in Seattle area. That's one. And then the CBD business. So maybe, Beau, you and I should meet sometime, and today or tomorrow or over the weekend, get your opinion, brother, because I really believe that there are some good monies to be made in this market. This market, you cannot be outside the field. You got to have a bat in your hand like a cricket, and then you play the ball, or with the baseball, or in the having the hoop near to the in the court for the basketball. So that's the key. Mitigate the risk and do your key elements is research and analysis and risk assessment, testing the and validation of what you're thinking, what you know of, and learn from your failures. So good luck
and
to you.
the rest the
Yeah, go ahead.
restaurant and winery too could be SBA eligible, so we could do what we did on
Oh my gosh.
the marina,
Let's talk
like,
about it,
right,
because
like,
I recorded the whole thing. So tell me what time is good for you today. I'm only available after 12, but I have all the time after that. So let me know, brother. Huh?
all right, I'll see you soon. Thanks everyone,
See
hope
you.
you
See you
enjoyed.
guys
All right.
next week, 9 a.m. Pacific. You do best and live your life to the fullest. Take care.